Hey everybody, my name is Jennifer and this is Metatron speaking. Have a message for you today from Archangel Michael. He says, when you love someone, you are patient with them. You don't feel frustrated easily by them. It is difficult for them to anger you. Love is not impulsive. Love is thoughtful with words and actions. It is careful to not create misunderstandings. Love is gentle. Love only cares about expressing love. Love is a fountain that springs forth emotions. The emotions are always flowing, always available, always vulnerable. Love is given generously, and yet there is always more. It is an infinite source, and in the energetically healthy, it flows outwards constantly without draining the sender. Love is not worry or responsibility for another. Love is not necessarily doing anything at all. It just exists. It just is. It is its own gift. It comes from the divine part of the soul, the infinite part. It does not resent if you do not love it back. Its joy is in, and then he couldn't finish his sentence because he actually started crying. Its joy is in knowing the other soul. There is gratitude in experiencing the giving of love. There does not need to be interaction or reciprocation. The other person could be departed. We love because love is beautiful, because it is what we were made to do. And we feel more alive when we feel it flow from us. This is not a call to overextend yourself. This is not a call to use your time or money or sanity on another. Love is not those things. Yes, sometimes we do things for love, but we don't need to give ourselves away to love another. We don't need to deplete our energy or sanity or bank accounts or free time to love another. Love is independent of these things. It is far more enduring than the emotions and circumstances of your current life situation. It is forever. It is a taste of the divine. You cannot control who extends love your way, but you can control whether or not you get to experience love by choosing to participate in love flowing through you. Your higher heart chakra is outside your body. It is located where it is more difficult to hide and where it is more easily accessible to the world and others. The higher heart loves unconditionally, indiscriminately, uncontrollably. It is the heart of the soul, not the heart of the body. It is the divine heart, not the physical heart that feels wounded and offended. Your higher heart is in front of your body, ready to greet and feel whomever comes into your space. We don't shake hands in the afterlife. We touch our higher hearts together. This is the end of his message. I want to talk to you a little bit about a couple things. So, he started crying during the message. This actually happens with me, I'm not gonna say frequently, but it's happened several times with different archangels. So, the archangels are all light, there's no darkness in them. And of course, they're like the perfect representation of love and how energy should be flowing through our bodies, right? So they're very open, they're very loving, and they're so vulnerable and they're so open to us and they adore us so much. And so even though they're never asking for anything in return, they're never telling us what to do. Um, it's not like a typical human dynamic or human relationship that we're used to. But regardless of how much we talk to them, regardless of how much we interact with them, regardless of whether or not we know they are there, they love us. And I like the words that they chose to describe the higher heart and how they love, because they were talking about, let's see, the higher heart loves unconditionally, indiscriminately, uncontrollably. So, unconditionally. So it's like that higher heart is open, that higher heart chakra is open, love is coming out of it, and it's unconditional. There's nothing that someone else can do to make that thing close up and stop. Indiscriminately. It doesn't say, "Oh, I'll give you love and I'll give you love," but no, not you. So this is the higher consciousness, the higher way to do things. Here on earth, it's like, "Yeah, you're pretty nice to me. You know, I don't know you. We don't spend that much time together. I don't know. You're different than me. Perhaps I don't like you. Whatever." We do yes, no with opening this heart chakra, closing this heart chakra. With the highest way of living, you don't close it. You don't shut it down. You don't block it. It's always open, unconditionally, indiscriminately, uncontrollably. So we're not playing games. You deserve love and you don't. You get love and you don't. We're not doing that. It's open. It belongs open. It wants to love everyone. And the other much higher way of thinking that's kind of mind-boggling for us is that you're open and you're projecting out this love to everyone else. And your joy and your satisfaction is in doing that. There's nothing else beyond that. There's not I'm loving everyone and I expect them or I think they probably should love me back. It's it's not doing one thing trying to get another thing. There's no motive, there's no agenda. The joy is in loving. And so that's why they do it. And there's nothing beyond that that needs to be accomplished. They talk about, Michael talks about, this is not a call to overextend yourself. So this is not asking anybody to be like, oh man, okay, I should, I'm exhausted. I just went to work. I'm exhausted, but so and so is really going through a bad time and I'm just going to like call them and I'm just going to spend like 3 hours with them on the phone because they're having a rough time and I want to help them out and XYZ. And I'm not saying that's not a good thing to do, and he's not saying that's not a good thing to do. But love, loving people is separate from what we can do for them, or what we do choose to do for them, or what we don't choose to do for them. It's separate from what we give them, or tangible, physical, time wise, money wise. It's separate from all these other things that, as a 3D community, as a 3D planet, we've learned to intercombine, right? Because on this planet, if somebody loves you, uh, I don't know, they like think of like romantic love. They take you out on a date, right? They take you somewhere and they buy you food. And when it's your birthday or it's a holiday, they buy you a present. And if it's like a family relationship, a family love, it's like, oh, you are their parent or you are their child. You should be spending X amount of time with them or calling them, or you're their friend, so you should be spending this much time with them, or whatever the case may be. So there's all these like assumptions and requirements and maybe pressures that don't belong there. They have nothing to do with love. Love is this choice, and it's free. It's it's free to give it. It's not something that where you have to give your energy, or you have to give your time, or you have to give your money in order to make it count. None of that. So this is just us with the power of thought, emotion, intentions, just knowing that we love this person and being open. And naturally, energy flows out as a result of that. So that is the natural, healthy, normal, ideal state that we're supposed to be in. Obviously, being on a 3D planet and with all the conditioning and misunderstandings and miseducation that we've had, I don't know if any of us are functioning like that now. I remember functioning like that as a child. I don't know if you guys remember that or not, but as a child, I remember I just loved everybody. Like, I loved everybody. I really did. Loved everybody. Everyone was fun. I was excited about everyone. Um, and it would be, because I'm a human, it wouldn't be until something would happen where I'd be like, huh, okay, I don't want to spend time around that person. I don't want to love that person because that person's like mean to me or whatever. Um, and that's fine. And that's, you know, there's a lot of this that's very, very appropriate for where we're living in this 3D world. But I think I just want to bring into your awareness, into your consciousness, that this is what the higher way looks like, just so we can be aware. It looks like being open to experiencing love as an output. Um, that output is not draining because it's from an infinite source of the soul that's divine. So, in doing this, it won't feel exhausting. It won't feel like a burden. It won't feel like a chore. It's just a state of existence. Doesn't take work. Just is. So just getting us closer to that space of always feeling open, because it's hard because we have all these traumas and all these things that have happened in this lifetime and other lifetimes that give us all these reasons why we shouldn't be that way. And now it's a matter of us relearning how to do this, and also separating the two heart chakras, right? Because we have the heart chakra that we're used to talking about, And this is the heart chakra that he was referencing as the one that gets hurt, the one that can be wounded and offended, the one that's tied to the ego and the body and the self. And that one's actually in your physical body. The interesting thing is that Archangel Michael referenced the higher heart as being outside the body. And I don't know a lot about the higher heart. I tried to Google it after I channeled this. Um, I did not see any reference to it being outside the body. So I feel like this is something that was maybe not part of consciousness yet, that we're not aware of yet. Um, they were making a point. Not only is it higher on your body, but it's forward and outside your body because this is the one that leads us. This is what we use to interact with. The very first thing that comes in contact with another energy body, whether you're in a physical body or not, right? Because we have this 3D energy field, right? It's like this bubble all around us. So whether you have a physical body or not, the very first thing that's going to meet up on two people is the higher hearts when you go to interact. The divine heart, the unconditional love aspect. And I relate with this a lot because when I'm interacting with the spiritual world, like a lot of times it's actually when I lay in bed at night, right? Because during the day, too many things are going on. I don't tune into what my guides are doing other than whoever I'm channeling. I'm like tuning into what they're saying, but that's about it. At nighttime, I just kind of lay there and I can feel like, from it'll be a certain side of my body, depending on which guide it is. But from a certain angle, I'll feel like the radiation of energy off of a certain guide, and it'll be loving and it's very subtle and it'll just kind of be touching on me. Um, but a lot of times they're interacting with the higher heart, and they don't always do it. And I think they don't always do it for a reason, but it's a very personal thing because when they are like right in front of me in that way and the higher hearts line up, it's kind of electric. It's a stronger sensation that comes from that lining up. So they don't always do it because I'm like trying to go to bed at night or whatever. Um, so yeah, so the higher heart chakra outside the body, who knew? I don't think it's like he didn't tell me exactly how far it is, but I get the sense that it's right about here. Like maybe a foot, maybe maybe that far away from the front of your body. Maybe not even that far away. Um, but yeah, I have a feeling that this chakra is going to start, at least for me. I don't know how much the higher heart chakra is already in the collective consciousness. I know we're aware of it. Obviously, I've talked about it before briefly, won't mention it as a chakra, but I honestly knew nothing about it before this. And I feel like this might be something that kind of starts increasing over time, being talked about more, going into depth with it more. The same way we started going into depth more about the Alta Major chakra at the base of the head, top of the spine, base of the head. Um, because these chakras, they were seen as like minor or like not this big of a deal. Everyone made the big deal for however many years about just these main is it like seven in the body? I don't even know. It's like the main chakras in your body, and then slowly people were like, oh, but don't forget the soul star. Don't forget the stellar gateway. Don't forget the earth star. And so we keep adding on all these chakras that have always been there and have always been important, but we're just starting to have our consciousness high enough to be able to understand the value of these chakras. And I don't think I think if you took any of these chakras and you took everything we knew about any one of these chakras, even just like a main chakra, if you're like the root chakra, let's just pull up all the information we know about it. They show me, we know, like, it's almost like, when there's like the iceberg and it's like, oh, you see this much of the iceberg, but there's like this massive thing under the water. It's like we don't even know this much. It's like residue. He's showing me like it's like we're just barely rubbing our hand across the top of it. We cannot fathom the full extent and value. He's trying to show it to me. He's showing it to me across all these different layers, like physical value, emotional value, spiritual value, all these other things that I don't have words for because we're 3D and we only have this much understanding about anything. But it's exciting to kind of have these new chakras start coming up so we can start tuning into them and start kind of lining up our thought process with, I don't want to say where it's supposed to be, but where it's supposed to be. Like, where it is when we don't have a 3D body that we're trapped in. Because when we don't have this 3D body and we're on the other side, all of our divine knowledge is restored. And we know all this stuff. We know how many chakras we have, and we know the full value of all of them. And here, it's like we have these blinders on, and everything's concealed, and everything's veiled, and everything's difficult to get to. So it's nice that they're starting to bring this forward. I think that's everything they wanted to say. I actually didn't realize that they wanted to have such a long message out of me after the actual channeled message. Um, yeah. Okay. He says it's everything. All right. So that is everything that I have for you guys today. I've been getting lots of like shorter messages lately. So sometimes they're short, sometimes they're long. I'm just going to keep pushing them out to you guys. Oh, I do have something that I want to ask to all of you, pose a question to all of you. Susan and I, with Orange Light Energy, we are looking at starting a Patreon setup, which is basically like different services that would be available on a monthly basis. And there would be theoretically different levels. Like maybe it's like, I don't know, just pretend. Maybe it's like $5 and this is what we would offer you every month, or it's $10 and we'd offer you this every month. And so we're looking at that, and we have a lot of different ideas of what we think would be beneficial for people. But if you have something specific that you would be interested in having offered by Susan and I through Patreon, please feel free to comment about that and let us know, because we do take all suggestions very seriously. So there's a lot of times that clients will ask for something and they do in fact get it. A lot of times they'll ask for like a brand new service and they do in fact get it. So you never know what you might be bringing forward and how that might help us and help the wider community kind of get their needs met. So thank you for your help on that one. I will see you guys next time. Bye bye.